Okay, hello and welcome to Tools in the Shed, a podcast powered by CarsGuide, ready to rip into car stuff that's caught our eye this week. I'm James, and with me are fearless editor Mal Flynn, keen
G'day.
to fill us in on a four-ringed newcomer
Great to be here, James.
and blow a gasket, or maybe the doors off an annoying automotive anomaly. As well as Richard Berry,
Hello.
who's been investigating an EV startup that's caught the attention of none other than Jeff Bezos and General Motors,
That's right.
which is no doubt of interest to that ultimate Silicon Valley dude bro that we'll be checking in on in this week's MuskWatch. So stay with us. But first, glad to say we've had some terrific feedback since last week's podcast. First of all, Blake Swan, Richard, is with you all the way on stop-start technology. He says, quote, "Stop-start is the worst tech in vehicles. I'll take the half-mile per gallon hit so my AC can stay on."
Absolutely.
You're the fossil fuel burner.
Burn
in
it all.
this room.
There's lots of dinosaur juice out there.
Okay.
Burn it all up.
And has anyone noticed how much it costs to replace a start-stop car-equipped battery
Oh,
for
really?
a car-equipped start-stop?
All right, so it's a
Big battery,
really
thumper.
big cost,
Right.
Yeah.
and they seem to die sooner because they get worked pretty hard.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've also had feedback from Roto Ihu, who's seeing the alien from Predator whenever he looks at the new Triton. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Alan Y let us know he's waiting for his to be delivered, and Out West Lawns is envious. Like, he'd like to have a Triton too. So we've got some interesting Predator versus purchase versus envy issues
Yeah.
around the
Is the alien
Triton.
from Predator the same as the alien from Aliens?
I think the alien from... It's the Predator is the alien in
I
Predator.
just saw our producer mastered. Sorry, not mastered. Pritchard. I just saw
Richard's
producer
seeing
Pritchard
back in
just roll
time.
his eyes
Anyway.
at Mal then.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And look, Chapos CH
Take that
says...
as a no.
Chapos CH says he loves the podcast. Thank you for that.
Is
And
that Mexican drug lord?
Chapo, El Chapo. No, he's
No.
in jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah. But he'd be able
Surely
to get
he
the
gets,
podcast.
Yeah, NBN in the Mexican...
He wonders, as many do, if the Honda Ridgeline is coming to Australia, because he stumbled across it when he was looking at bedliners and things and in the States. And look, the Honda Ridgeline is one of those things that's been in the US for quite some time. It is not coming to Australia, particularly in its current state. It's been around for yonks.
Left-hand drive only.
Left-hand drive only. So, yeah, you'd think, look, who knows what comes in the future, but not for now.
Like a lot of, interesting cars that we'd buy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look, finally, the innovation we debuted for YouTube viewers last week didn't go unnoticed. Thanks to our old mate Hammer Rocks for the positive feedback on our full immersion background screen. That's FIBS. The acronym is FIBS technology. If you haven't had a look on YouTube, give it a try. It's fun, and we reckon it dials up the experience. So
They don't call it chroma key anymore?
no, it's FIBS.
Oh.
Fibs.
FIBS. We've got that
We're
registered,
telling
by the way.
fibs.
Do we?
We're using FIBS. We could call it fake news, but I think we'll stick with FIBS.
Yeah.
All right, now, Richard,
Yes.
you've been looking into a zero-emissions electric brand that has also caught the attention of some big players. Fill us in on what's going on.
That's right. You may have noticed in the news lately that there's been a company called Rivian popping up. Rivian is a US electric vehicle maker. They've managed to fly under the radar.
So they make planes as well.
No, they just make cars.
Okay.
Have they actually made vehicles yet?
They've made two concept cars. Right. Okay, so look, they started up in 2009.
Big literal.
They started up
Richard just had to think of the word concept.
I did not. I did. They started in 2009. The owner and creator of the company is a guy called Robert Scaringe. He's only 36 years old.
Jeez.
He's a mechanical
What a fine
engineer
age.
from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So he's an engineering scientist there. He started the company in 2009, and he's been in what he calls in stealth mode since then. Now, he...
So what? He's attached
It sounds like
large
he's using FIBS
angular
technology.
pieces of
Yeah.
carbon to his
Yeah,
body
that reflect
so that
radar.
he can't be read
Yeah.
by radar.
No one's seen him. They have
He's
seen
invi-
him. There's
he's
a picture of him on Wikipedia. I've just been looking at it.
This is going to be a long podcast.
It's going to be a very long podcast. Rivian are now on pretty much everybody's radar, especially General Motors and Amazon, because at the LA Motor Show in November 2018, they launched or they debuted their two concepts, an electric vehicle pickup and an EV SUV, and they became the stars of the LA show.
And they look brilliant.
They look
look
brilliant.
amazing.
They look like, if you haven't seen one before, they look like Range Rovers. In fact, probably Range Rover might be interested in having a closer look at the copyright.
But they look like
laws.
2025
They look like
Range Rovers.
2025 Range Rovers.
They look terrific.
They look cool. They look scarily futuristic. The big selling point or the big news is the amazing storage capacity that the Utes got. It's got this tunnel which is between the tray and the cabin. It's a dual cab, but this tunnel sort of goes in between the tray and the cabin. And it's really big storage space. Of course, there's storage space with under the bonnet as well.
Is it for carrying PVC pipes?
PVC pipes. Now, it's not really going to be a tradie ute. They're going to be quite expensive. US wise, they're going to be $66,000 odd US dollars. The SUV, which is based on the ute as well, is going to be about $72,000.
That's like $1 million Australian dollars.
That's quite a lot of money. But the ute's going to have a brake towing capacity of 5 tons. It's going to have electric motor at each wheel, so it's 4-wheel drive. A 0 to 100 time of about 5 seconds. It's going to be quick. It's got those Range Rover looks. Now,
Take that, Roland Cole.
What's really interesting is General Motors and Amazon are reportedly interested in buying a small stake in Rivian. Now, it was only in November 2018 that the General Motors Vice President of Global Strategy, Mike Abelson, came out with this quote. He said, "The core business is always going to be the core business for a couple of decades to come. There will not be an electric vehicle pickup." That's his quote. Now, it appears he's done a bit of a backflip, and that's because Ford have announced that they're going to be electrifying one of their F-Series trucks. So General Motors, before the LA Motor Show, said they weren't coming out with an electric pickup. Ford announced
but
their
I think
announcement.
Ford meant they were putting a 12-volt outlet in the bed, didn't they? That, for them, that's electrifying the truck.
I know.
That's a big step.
A lot of people didn't think Ford were going to do an electric pickup. They were going to do a hybrid, which is annoying because everybody wants them to go full electric. But
GM did a hybrid pickup years ago.
What was that?
It was a V6 or a V8, but with a little electric motor behind it.
That's right. Yeah.
Bit of a token effort.
Now this looks like the full shimoli. So why does Amazon want to get involved with Rivian? No one really knows. Jeff Bezos. We wrote a story on this as well, and as Stephen Corby pointed out in the story, Jeff Bezos probably knows a good investment when he sees one. And of course, Amazon have got a logistics sort of situation ahead of them if they want to be the provider of every single parcel in the world.
But also talk about someone who has a longer term view of things.
Yep.
Amazon took a bath financially for so long, and we'll get to MuskWatch later. It's kind of a similar scenario. He's someone who would be able to see the potential, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
Or is he just wanting to help out, a little guy who's showing promise
maybe.
to take on the likes
possibly.
of Musk and GM?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't know.
Could be.
Well, that's it. And look, we haven't forgotten about Elon. We'll get to him later. But Elon Musk said that he was going to bring out an electric pickup truck last year in a tweet.
But it's mid this year. The concept's meant to drop.
That's right.
Apparently.
So, in Australia, pickups are huge sellers, and in the US even more so. They sell more F trucks in the US than we sell cars in one of our years. So, yeah, it's big money.
The other thing isn't Rivian's big thing about providing a chassis that anyone can put a body on?
Yeah. So that means for Amazon, this skateboard chassis, which you can put a pickup on or an SUV on, can be applied to anything, basically. Yeah.
How much does that sound like the way cars started?
Yeah, true.
Totally.
Is this going to give reignite the coach building industry?
Yeah.
It could be. Because, when you take the body off a Tesla, that's exactly what it looks like as well.
Yeah.
An electric skateboard.
That's right.
BMW i3.
Yep.
All sorts.
Yeah. So look, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the Rivian. What it is, the pickup is called the R1T, and the SUV is called the R1S. It's a 7-seat SUV, and it looks really nice.
So tell us what you make of them. See if you agree. They might be horrible to your eyes. I think it looks lovely.
But those numbers sound great, and the extra practicality sounds brilliant
That's
too.
it, and a range of about 645 k's. So that's getting up there too. Exciting times.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richard. Now, Mel, you have recently been driving a vehicle that is not electric powered. It's very much powered by unleaded fuel. And tell us all about it, please.
Sure. I can now tell you about the Audi RS5 Sportback, which is the first RS5 Sportback. They didn't do one before, so it's basically a 5-door liftback hatch version of the RS5 Coupe.
So to get your RS5 previously, it had to be the 2-door car
that was the only
only.
one.
So this is your 5-door.
Yep. Yep. Bit like a BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe, but with, M bits. But they won't build you one of those. And so the other way of looking at it is it's kind of like an RS4 wagon with the back cut off. So I love the fact that you've now got 3 options with that mechanical package.
Right.
And, I'm a bit over coupes, and I love the fact that the Sportback gives you that sporting coupe look, but with back seats.
Yes.
And a huge boot. So you can read the full story and see the video on carsguide.com.au right now.
Would the drivetrain in the those 3 different variants that you mentioned be identical, or
Yes.
is there?
Yep.
They are
331 kilowatts, 600 newton meters, 2.9 litre twin turbo V6.
Yeah.
Another great vote for the ZF8 Speed, which does an excellent job in all 3 of them. Beautifully comfortable around town, but snap fast when you turn it up. Really easy car to drive fast, really comfortable car to drive every day. We drove it all the way from Canberra to Bathurst the back way, and, it's as good as a 5 Series, It's just a really comfortable car.
So does it have magnetic dampers? Is there kind of adjustability in the suspension
I
tune
don't think they're
from
magnetic. They're adaptive dampers.
Adaptive
but
dampers,
it's just all, access through the drive modes.
Wonderful.
So turn it up to dynamic and everything gets stiffer and sharper and faster, and not as exciting as a C63.
Yeah.
It doesn't make that, angry dinosaur V8 noise that we all love.
Yeah.
But you can't get a C63 5-door liftback.
Well, the thing is, for a lot of people, that prior RS5 with the V8 engine, naturally aspirated, I, for one, major fan of that car and that drivetrain, having driven a lot of Ks in it here and in Germany, and driving that new turbo V6. I think it's a fantastic package. I really loved it
You went into it with big question marks, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you came back just...
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how impressed you were with that coupe.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But this Sportback is every bit as fast as the coupe, same 0 to 103.9 claim.
Yeah, that's quick. That's fast.
Official fuel consumption of 8.9 litres per 100, which is
Wow.
pretty good for a car with 331 kilowatts.
Yep.
Yeah. That's extraordinary.
Anyway, another option that's pretty quick and comfortable, and yes, they're $157,000, but...
That's just a little footnote to the whole story.
But, compared to a Lamborghini, that's nothing.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's right, except it's not a Lamborghini.
That's another podcast.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking of other things that we have been driving, we'll shift through to what's in our garage. And Richard, back over to you, still with that brand with the 4 rings, but a slightly different part of the model range. Fill us in.
Look, the vehicle that Mal's been driving is probably one of the upper echelons of the Audi brand. I'm riding at the entry level, the Audi A3 sedan. I love it. Just in terms of its styling, I think it looks like a little mini A8.
Great proportions, huh?
Oh, perfect proportions. That car came out in 2013. I remember when it came out because I went to the international launch of it, and I've loved it ever since. It's not all pretty though. It's too small for me. You can see me all sort of squashed up in here at the moment. It is small, it's low, so trying to get my 4-year-old into the back seat has meant I've had to get on my knees and sort of pull.
Were you just shoving your 4-year-old in there,
Pretty
or
much.
actually sitting him in some kind
Can't he
of
climb himself
in the
in
footwell? Just like cramming him in? How were you placing him in the
To get the car seat in, I've got to get on my knees and put that in. The back doors don't open very wide either. I got into a CX-5 last night, and I thought I'd broken the doors because they almost open at a right angle to the car, whereas the Audi A3 sedans really only give you 60%, 60-degree gap.
Have you tried the same thing in the A3 Sportback, the hatch?
Yeah, same thing. I mean,
shoving his son into the footwell?
I've shoved my son into pretty much every car, and I've driven the
That's what we
A3 Sportback or the Cabriolet and all of those, and have had him in the back of them too. Look, the Sportback's the most practical A3 in the range.
Just thinking the roofline probably doesn't taper off as much.
The roofline doesn't taper off as much. I can't sit up in the back of an A3 sedan. For me, it's all about the front 2 seats with 2 extra seats in the back. But to drive, that car's pretty hard to fault. Even with that tiny, 1.4 litre, 110 kilowatt engine, I really, really enjoyed it.
But just think about that. 1.4 litre, 110 kilowatts. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Now, look, that also brings me to the reason why we're reviewing this car. It's the 2019 model year car, but Audi have gone and changed all the naming of their models just to make things even more complicated.
It's still an A3.
It's still an A3. It used to be called a 1.4 TFSI. It's now called a 35 TFSI. The 35,
That's cleared it right up for me.
It really has. So now, just ignore that it's called 35. The 35 indicates how much power or how much horsepower it produces. So
35 horsepower?
No. So
350 horsepower.
no, this is the thing. Audi, what have you done this for? So 35 means it makes between 110 and
So
I
it's a
think
scale
140.
thing.
And then the 40 makes from 140 to the next level up. And then you've got the 55. And then you've got the A8 you drove, which was the 55, I think it was. And it goes all the way up to like 340 kilowatts.
Great. Well, that's clear as mud.
Yes.
That's
So
fantastic.
imagine a really detailed chart in the brochure.
So, exactly. Same car, but different badge. So review
I can
is
see
coming on that
customers
soon.
walking away from a showroom with, ink on their hand like,
Yeah.
35, that's up to 30, and that's 40.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I think I'll go to another place.
It's confusing, but the car's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
They introduced this on the A8
Yep.
last year, and now it's across the A3, A4, A5.
Yeah, and look, when as each new model appears, like the Q3 will be coming, the new updated Q3 will be coming, it'll get that new nomenclature as well.
Yep.
Look, you can read the full review. I'm writing it today. Don't worry, Mal. I'll have that in. Look, it scores really well for looks and the way it drives, but it loses points in terms of safety. It was a 5-star car in 2013.
It's a long time
but
ago, though.
It's 6 years ago. So it wouldn't be a 5-star
Is it?
car today.
That car's been around 6 years.
Yeah. And it's aged superbly. It's like
Richard's arithmetic is just
I know.
effing brilliant.
You wouldn't believe
That's why
it.
we put him in charge of explaining 35.
That's right. It's not seriously in car years. 6 years is like an 80-year-old person, and it's still like smoking.
What
hot.
is it in dog years?
That's 1 million dog years.
A million dog years.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Or is it not? Anyway.
Yeah.
So what's it look like in safety? Sorry?
Okay, so it's got AEB, but it doesn't have pedestrian and cyclist detection. It doesn't have a whole lot of stuff which you can get on a $28,000 Kia Cerato.
Yeah.
It doesn't have adaptive cruise control. You've got to buy that.
The key point there being that for a car to qualify as a 5-star ANCAP car
Yes.
now,
Yep.
AEB isn't good enough.
That's right.
It must have pedestrian detection and some
cyclist,
lane keeping
yeah.
assistance and all of that
Yep,
stuff
yep.
to get to that benchmark. So it's a whole other discussion. But
That's
to
right.
me, it seems like we're going to see a whole lot of 4-star cars
Yep.
in the market where 5 stars seem
Yep.
to be fairly common.
But
Which is-
annoyingly, they won't go and reanalyse the A3.
No.
It's still officially a 5-star car.
I've got some other news as well. Okay, so
Richard started his
if
own
you're-
safety
if
rating.
you're-
You've gone rogue.
It's the Richard score.
if you're thinking about buying an A3, maybe hold off because a new generation A3 is coming in the next couple of years.
Oh, right. So hold off for a couple of years.
So my
Probably-
car's just died. I'll
No,
just
look.
walk for 2 years.
Look,
Richard told me.
probably in the next 12 months or so, we're going to see a new A3 sedan arrive. So, look, keep your eyes peeled for that. And it might be like 2021 by the time it comes
Keep
to
your eyes
Australia.
peeled for that in the A3 that you go out and buy now because it'll be
What
the
I'm
next
saying
one.
is, look, just run your car into the ground until the new A3 comes along.
Righto.
It'll be much better.
One final question.
Yes.
Is the 35 the base variant?
It's the base variant in the sedan.
Yep.
But the 30 is the base variant in the Sportback.
Which is the 1 litre,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The 3-cylinder.
Uh-huh.
And is the 15 coming here?
The 15's a bike.
Well,
I think.
right. The 25? No.
The
15 would be
25.
great for preserving
Yeah.
your
Right.
licence.
Now, Mal, we're going to move on to you, the chariot that you've been driving this week. I've had a steer of it as well. Let us know. Come on.
Okay, now mine isn't the base version. I've been driving the Toyota LandCruiser 70 Series Troop Carrier GXL,
Yes.
Wow.
which, wow.
Yeah.
Is there a picture of it behind us?
There
There
should
will
be
be.
There will be.
picture,
There is.
video.
Yep.
I've got
There may be moving pictures.
Whoa.
photos I'm sending
Look at
Pritchard.
that.
Anyway, we know the Troopy.
Yes.
Anyone who's been around since 1984 will know the Troopy. It's Grandpa's axe. It's
George Orwell wrote about it, didn't he? I think it was.
did.
It was a bit
is that what
player.
Rosebud
Yes,
was?
yes.
It wasn't a sled.
It wasn't a sled, it was a troop carrier.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Well-
4 wheels bad, 2 wheels good. No, I can't remember. Yeah.
In many ways, this is my Rosebud. Um,
That's
But-
going on the wall.
get back to the Troopy. I'm not sure if I've had the chance to say it in this room, but I'm a big fan of the new Suzuki Jimny.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Drove it. It's a good thing.
Mm.
But I'm also a fan of the 70 series, which abides by the same set of fundamental rugged design parameters. And you'll be seeing more of these too in coming days at carsguide.com.au. And the 70 still has a real charm to it, I think. So much of its original 1984 design remains, but with just enough modern touches to keep it legal in 2019.
Agree. But
It's
don't you feel so macho driving it? It just, you feel the kind of testosterone bubbling up to the
Everyone
surface.
looks at you too.
No, it just,
Yeah.
the way it
Yep.
chugs along and you feel
It's
like
engaging
this is
to
a
drive.
proper truck, yeah?
You need to think, and it keeps you stimulated, I think.
Yep.
Those seats in the back, do they still have them?
I'm getting to that.
Yeah, okay, right.
All right, getting that. Like
Yep.
MuskWatch, we're getting to
Back in your box, Richard.
It's engaging to drive, particularly as a troop carrier because it's huge. You feel like you can move your whole house across the Simpson Desert. And it's bloody capable.
Yeah.
But I copped the Troopy raw prawn in that I was served the worst of Sydney traffic, and it took me 2.5 hours to drive here from the mountains the other day. And as great as the Troopy is, it does have its limitations. And but
Yeah.
the M2 in bumper-to-bumper traffic is not one of its
Because it's
strong
a
points.
5-speed. It's got a big throw, kind of
Yep.
old school gear lever. It's
Yep.
got the long throw clutch.
Yep.
So if you are in stop-start, there's a lot of physical kind of repetitive action just to keep the thing going.
Over and over and over.
Yeah,
and over.
yeah.
And while it's not as much of a pain as my EH Holden without synchro on first,
Yeah.
it's not that far from
The,
it.
Yeah.
the other thing is, I found first gear is so low that I was just kicking myself. You automatically select first gear
Yeah.
to move off.
Yeah.
Really, second's the gear. And I said,
Yep.
oh, God, I've selected first again.
But
But
first
then you
Because
feel,
you'd be in it for about 2 seconds and pull it back.
but then you feel if you're doing that over and over and over and over
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Now,
not
Mel,
doing
the
clutching
seats.
phase.
Fill us in on the seating layout. In the
now,
back, Richard, what you were referring to
Yeah.
was your genuine military style,
Yes. Views.
parallel with the
Yeah.
car
Can I-
Yep.
seating.
I've got another point I'd like to discuss.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Is that?
I just wanted to reiterate
Yeah.
that this car is still a $70,000 car.
What the heck?
That's 2 top spec Toyota 86s.
The thing is, though,
That's-
people buy these
Yep.
and drive them till they're dead.
Yeah.
They're a
Yep.
long life investment as
Yep.
opposed to I'm just going to move
Yeah,
to
it's
a
like
new
a
car
tractor.
kind of thing.
You never buy another one.
they-
You don't need another one.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but this is effectively a 3-door, if
Yeah.
you want to call it that. It's got the vertically split, like 2/3, 1/3 door at the back with the spare on the
there's
big
2
part.
doors on the back, so technically it's a 4-door.
Yeah, okay.
But more on that
And
later.
then just the front and passenger side door. So you're folding the front seats to get into the back seat of this Troopy.
Yeah.
So
And you know what? Big thing for me, there's no child seat anchorage points.
At all.
there aren't
Sadly.
any.
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
Well, that's because they don't have any child soldiers in Australia.
It doesn't bother you because you just shove your 4-year-old.
Hello,
in the
Mel.
footwell anyway.
It's a troop carrier. Good point,
Yeah,
Richard.
yeah.
Very good point. You
All
should
right.
work for Toyota. Now, I very much fantasize about taking 10 people off-road, though, in the troop seat configuration, which
Yep.
the car is also famous for. But I realised this morning you can't do that anymore.
No,
It's only a 5-seater.
5-seater. Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
So you'd have to
So-
take 2 Troopies to get your 10 people wherever you're going. So it's 140 grand.
Or buy an old one.
Yeah.
Or like 5 like crack troops. Like if you had
Crack troops.
no, like you
With
know
their own pipes.
well, like the 18. Like if you took 5 SAS,
A crack commando
in-
unit.
a crack commando
Commando
unit.
unit.
They'd
Because
just
that's
be
a crime they did
mental.
commit.
Yeah, yeah,
A
If you can
commando
find
unit
them, you
on
can hire.
crack.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you seen that Joaquin Phoenix movie?
No, moving on.
Okay.
Keep going, Richard.
The one about Johnny Cash?
No.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
Marines on
Richard.
crack.
Crack
yes.
commando unit.
That's right.
How
Yeah.
are they going to overcome the 5-seat configuration?
You've got to see the movie, and it'll explain everything.
Okay. Well,
Right.
that's all I've got on the Troopy.
Very good. All right.
It's great.
It's a fantastic. It's fun
I'm
because
so glad it exists.
But
As
soul
Mel-
destroying.
as Mel said,
Yeah.
it's so much fun because it's so different
Yes.
to what's in the mainstream in 2019.
Yeah.
It retains so much of its old school ruggedness.
And
you know?
if you're using it for its intended function,
Yep.
its strengths
Yeah.
far
Uh,
away its compromise.
Does it have AEB? What would its?
No.
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 I'm not even going to listen to your questions. The answer's
Like blind
no.
spot lane
You
keeping.
know what it does have? It has
An aerial.
dozens of shared parts with, an early 80s Corolla, just
Yeah.
like mid
They
70s
both
Corolla.
have tyres. They both have wheels.
Well, they've got to do
No,
something
I
with
mean,
all those parts, don't they?
The interior door handle, the
Oh,
Jesus handles,
really?
the HVAC controls, the slidey horizontal
Yeah.
controls.
Maybe there were just a lot left in the shelf.
Yes,
And
had to use them up.
let's keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
It's charming.
I'm going to just quickly touch on the car that I've been driving this week, which is also in the Toyota stable. It's the Camry V6 SL. And look, it's about $44,000, which is a lot for a Camry. So previously you had your Orion, but now Camry covers both 4 and 6 cylinder
And
models.
before Orion, there was a V6
There
Camry.
was
So
indeed,
it's a return to V6
which I was
Camry.
familiar with. That was a fully imported car when the other models were produced in Australia. There was
The first one was
the
fully
yeah, that's right. That very first one.
SV21.
Which was a pretty schmick car in its day, I've got to tell you. And I think this one kind of reloads that whole feeling for the upmarket Camry. It's a 3.5 litre V6, 8-speed auto. It's beautifully equipped. And I got in and thought this really dances up to the line between Toyota and Lexus.
Yeah.
I think it's just on the Toyota side of it, but you could almost get away with putting a Lexus badge on it.
And the one we've got is black with a cream interior.
It's got
Yeah.
all that primo
perforated
stuff.
leather. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like, here's a Camry and we stuck leather in it. It
Yeah.
feels
So
nice.
an ES350 Lexus is 64, so it's another $20,000. It's also a 3.5 litre V6. It's a 6-speed auto,
Under the skin, largely identical.
largely
Absolutely.
identical. So
Yep.
seriously, if you were going to put your more pragmatic kind of hat on, this Camry is a lovely car to drive. Talk about you in stop-start traffic, Mal. I was in some stop-start on a commute to the city. It's beautiful. It's as far away from that experience as you could get.
Made by the same
This is probably
company.
the same day and
Yep.
therefore a tale of two Toyotas.
Two different Toyotas. So
Is there a theme song?
I think
No,
if
there
someone wasn't so fussed about the prestige badge thing, you could save yourself a lot of coin by looking at this Primo Camry. It's a really lovely car.
I got that feeling as well. I was driving an ES last year, and every time I would see a Camry, having done all the research into what makes an ES, realise that it's the same platform. There's a lot of shared parts. Even the fonts and scripts used throughout the cabin are exactly the same as the Camry.
Yeah.
It did make you wonder, why would I spend this much?
I suppose it's those little...
Another vote for the Camry. It doesn't have that bloody trackpad.
Yeah, no.
Oh
Or
my
the toggle or
God.
whatever they've
That's
got
true.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Lexus. Get
You all
rid
right,
of
Richard?
it.
You all right?
Oh, the
Okay.
stupid controller.
We should send them a link to the Google search for ergonomics, I think.
Yeah.
That'd probably help Lexus a lot.
That's a deal breaker for me. That
Now,
thing.
Mel, we're going to move on to a fast and furious blowing a gasket because we're pushing time a bit, but just let us know what's on your mind here.
Can we get any more charged than we already are? And I'm not talking about electricity.
Jeez, he's good, isn't he?
Oh, Dad.
He's great.
Now, gentlemen, you may scoff at this, but
Yep.
hear me out. Remember back in about the 90s when car makers started referring to hatchbacks as 3 and 5 doors?
Yep.
Even though nobody ever got into the back seat via a hatchback.
Oh, I did.
Sure.
Anyway.
I think you've done that subsequently,
Yeah.
though. Anyway,
Well, there's maybe the
Now-
months, MUTZ. There's a rear door that you climbed in the stairs and got in the car
true.
through the
What?
back door. Yep.
What about the Veloster, where there's only 3?
Anyway,
You know,
continue
keep
on,
going,
Mel.
Mel.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Good
We
point with
we
Veloster.
digress.
now I accept this as convention.
Mhm.
Happy to refer to 3-door hatches as 3-door rather than 2-door, even though they've got 2 doors, and 5 doors as 5 doors. Now, this week, I was having my usual debate with Tom White about whether or not the Tesla Model S is a sedan, which it isn't. Likewise, the Kia Stinger, not a sedan, 5-door liftback. When researching the Audi RS5 Sportback, which is also not a sedan,
Yeah.
5-door liftback.
Yep.
When I discovered what's likely to be the only car in the world to have the phrase 4-door in its name,
And it's actually...
and I'm not talking about the Maserati Quattroporte, which is a sedan, that being the new Mercedes AMG GT 4-door, it's a 5-door.
5-door. It's a hatch.
By conventional definition.
Yeah, right.
It's a hatch. So the back has a liftback.
Yep.
And hopefully you can see a photo of that now.
Yep.
Just like the Tesla Model S, Kia Stinger, and Audi's big Sportbacks.
Yes.
But they call it a 4-door.
Yeah.
Is this some German translation gone wrong?
Maybe.
Are we going to revert to the old school and actually be literal in counting the doors?
Viergang
Yeah.
Even though there's, I don't know.
or Fünfgang.
Doesn't matter. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter. If they call it a 4-door, they're just sticking to the side doors being doors and the other one
Yeah.
being a kind of luggage lid.
I think you've just got to call a door. And, it's not a tailgate. It's not how many doors there are, passenger doors to get into the vehicle.
But is the fuel cap a door?
Oh, everything's a door.
Is the charge flap on an electric car a door?
Everything's, you can be metaphorical about it. It's
So-
a door to another place you want to travel to.
That's
It's,
what Jim Morrison was on about when he named that band. It
The
was
door.
doors
I thought he
was gonna
going
go
on to
along with
another
some wardrobe elements.
another level of consciousness. That's what he was all about.
So, is a bonnet a door?
Yeah, they're all doors.
Right.
But
so a BMW
really-
i3 Rex
Yeah.
has a bonnet. It has
Yeah.
4 doors.
Yeah.
It has 2 fuel flaps.
Yeah.
It has a hatch.
Yeah.
Is that an 11T door?
No, really, I think we just need to go back to counting the number of doors people can get into the car in, excluding the boot door or, the tailgate.
So follow Mercedes'
Yeah, I reckon
suggestion
Mercedes is right.
I
and
agree.
the way
I
we
think-
operated in the
Yeah.
80s.
I think they're onto it.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Doors are things humans go through to get in the car.
That's right.
Good call.
That's it.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I'd be along
Yeah.
with that.
I'm on board.
Yeah. Okay, solved.
Yeah.
Problem.
Very progressive.
Gasket blown and repaired. I think we had to head off very quickly.
Thank you, guys.
The new gasket
That's
went in
very
rather
relieving
nicely.
to feel you're on board.
Now, we are going to move to that segment of segments, MuskWatch. Right, so big news this week is dog mode. That is an update to all Teslas that will now set a cabin temperature to keep your dog comfortable while letting passers-by know that they're okay. So
And not shoving rocks through your glass.
it'll sense movement that your puppy dog or dogs are still
Yeah.
in the car and set the temperature accordingly. And the big screen in the front will say, I'm okay, my owner will be back soon, blah, blah, blah. So no one freaks out about a dog being left alone in the car.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I like that.
they have dog mode, and they've also got sentry mode, which is using all the cameras in the car.
Weapons.
Yeah, well, there are some cannons and
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
Oil
also
slick.
the cameras
Yeah.
checking if someone is trying to break into the car. It will let you know. And both of these innovations came from people getting onto Elon on the
Yeah.
Twitters and saying, what about this? And he said, yeah, good idea.
Let's do
so
it.
they've actually implemented both of those things. I
Wow.
reckon that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great use of the hardware that's already there.
Sure.
Well, exactly. And the fact that you can download something like that overnight, just as your car's charging, wake up in the morning and you've got dog mode.
Yep.
Just like an update on your computer.
The other thing that Elon was doing this week was flirting shamelessly with Mars. Okay, so on Twitter, Mars came
That's a
out.
long-distance relationship.
He picked up on a thread where Mars,
Yes.
Mars,
Yeah.
was saying, I don't want you, only Elon. So Elon came in and said, I want you too, baby.
What?
And then Mars comes back and says, when are you coming over, babe? And Elon says, send me hot pics and I'll be right over, winking face emoji. Mars says, there's a pic of Mars. Right? It's just it's a hot pic.
It's pretty hot.
And so Elon, smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat emoji, says, thank goodness it's not November. And we all had to work out what that meant.
What does that mean?
Now, apparently there's a thing called No Nut November,
Oh.
where you're meant to be the master of your domain, right, for the entire month. So,
Is that like dry July?
What's it got to do with no nuts?
okay, Mel.
So,
Anyway,
sorry. I'll draw you a picture.
Are we
I'll
talking
draw you a picture.
peanuts?
Later.
there are birds and bees.
Salted
Sometimes the bees don't go with other
cashews.
birds. Anyway,
This is going to be a long podcast.
yes. Now, the other thing is to finish off on MuskWatch, the Bloomberg Model 3 production tracker is at 5330. That's up 391 on last week. So it's
Ooh.
up again over 5,000, and they're about to break through the 200,000 unit mark, all up for the Model 3. So, we've heard rumours of cars on grass, and are they actually moving out to customers? Has demand softened? Who knows?
It's not November in the Model 3 plant.
No. So they're certainly getting onto it, as it were. And they're producing a lot of cars. Look, with that,
Hope I'm not being
we have reached
controversial.
the finish line. Thank you, Mel. And thank you, Richard.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Richard.
Thanks to our producer, Mr. Pritchard.
Thanks for watching and listening.
To have your say on the show, search for CarsGuide on Facebook and Instagram and use the hashtag CGPodcast or email us at comments@carsguide.com.au. You can listen to and watch us on YouTube, and if you're enjoying Tools in the Shed, please pay it forward and recommend us to family and friends or rate and review us on iTunes. Until next week, a mate told me he saw some old blokes repairing shoes in the back of a van. I reckon that's a load of old cobblers.
Ah, yeah, because cobblers fix shoes.
With no nuts.
What?